This is Igbo Area
The indigenous people of Biafra has asked its members and people in Benue, Adamawa, Nasarawa, Kogi, and Kaduna State to sit at home on May 30th. IPOB explained that the order was in protest over killings by herdsmen and Boko Haram activities in the affected states. The annual sit-at-home order is a move by the IPOB aimed at pushing for the actualization of the sovereign state of Biafra across Southeast. It is expecting the Igbo and those sympathetic to the struggle for Biafra on May 30 stay indoors. According to a more powerful, who is the spokesman of the group, they said there will be no vehicular movement both in Southeast and the Middle Belt region of the country on May 30th. They said it's an opportunity provided by the Most High to announce the sit-at-home order throughout Biafra and in Nigeria in remembrance of our fallen heroes and heroines whose sacrifice made it possible for this generation to be alive today. They say, we shall also remember all victims of herdsmen attack, Boko Haram violence, and those that died at the hands of Nigerian security agencies over the years that nobody remembers. So, with one huge voice, they are calling the people of Southern Kaduna, Middle Belt, especially Benue, Adamawa, Nasarawa, Kogi, those affected by herdsmen terrorism in Ondo, Oshun, and other states in Yoruba land to join the great family of IPOB in observing a day of solemn prayer and sit at home to remember those that lost their lives unlawfully at the hands of herdsmen and security agencies, even during the recently concluded 2019 general elections. They also encouraged churches, mosques, synagogues, and temples to open their place of worship in the midnight of 29th of May for special midnight prayers in remembrance of the dead as a result of violence and sponsored killings. IPOB said it is in their usual tradition, usual fashion, that IPOB families and diaspora must rally on the streets of the respective countries within the written petition ready to be submitted to the nearest United Nations office and embassies of foreign missions in that country. He said, as our freedom draws near this year, our 30th of May sit-at-home and total lockdown of Biafra land will be remarkable. The whole world is looking up to Biafrans, especially IPOB family members worldwide, who through the grace of the Most High God will deliver Biafra and all other oppressed people of northern and western Nigeria from the oligarchy. Well, you found that was IPOB's plan for a sit-at-home. Still on the sit-at-home order by IPOB, Ohaneze rejects the order. The declaration of a sit-at-home in Southeast by IPOB appears to be the order has been scoffed at by Omahe, the governor of Ebonyi State, and Ohaneze Ndigbo. In its reaction, the Anambra state government described the sit-at-home order as anarchical. The state's Commissioner for Information and Public Enlightenment, Sidon Adenoba, said the state would not tolerate such action. Adenoba said investment is a coward. It does not thrive in an atmosphere of anarchy and disorder. He said any group that creates an impression that Igbo society is anarchical is crazy. Anambra state is reported as the most peaceful state in the country, so we can't tolerate this IPOB's anarchy. Our people should not obey such deceitful call. Also, the Igbo Apex Socio-Cultural Organization, Ohaneze Ndigbo, appealed to all Biafran agitators to adopt a new approach to engage the federal government on the perceived marginalization of the Igbo. The Deputy Publicity Secretary of Ohaneze, Chuks Ibebu, made the appeal while reacting to the sit-at-home order by IPOB. He said, if we say we want to remember the deaths and casualties of the past and our war, it makes a lot of sense, but closing down the economy of your own people, I don't know if that is beneficial to the same people you say you are fighting for. He urged the leadership of the IPOB not to do things that will put the Igbo at a disadvantageous position. Ohaneze President General Chief Nyangwood has also always made it clear that IPOB and MASOB are our children, but they have to put us into confidence too, the spokesman said, suggesting that IPOB did not consult the Apex Igbo body before declaring the order. In his own reaction, the National Publicity Secretary of the Movement for the Actualization of Sovereign State of Biafra, that is MASOB, Comrade Samuel Edison, said the sit-at-home order by IPOB was not mandatory for all Igbos to observe. According to him, MASOB is not against the sit-at-home order by IPOB, stating that MASOB has its own program for the May 30th date. Each group has the right to organize its program. Even that 30th of May, all the pro-Biafran agitators have fixed their own programs. So IPOB sit-at-home is in line with its activities. truth. A sit-at-home is not by force, it's voluntary. Whoever feels like can join, he said. In the same vein, the Ebonyi State Governor, David Umahi, said IPOB has no constitutional right to declare such order. He spoke through his press secretary, Mauzo. He noted that the people that obeyed the sit-at-home order were members of the IPOB who were adherents of the tenets and principle of the group. We have to go about our businesses come May 30, 2019. IPOB cannot ask the Igbos to sit at home this day and not to go about their legitimate business. It has no constitutional and legal backing to do so. That was a Mahi. But the Anambra State chapter of Ohaneze Ndigbo said there was nothing wrong with the call by IPOB on Southeast residents to sit at home May 30. Meanwhile, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, has revealed where he will celebrate his Biafra Remembrance Day. Kanu has been out of the country since after the military raid at his Afaruku home in Umuahia, Abia State. Kanu said he will be in Atlanta, Georgia, United States of America on May 30. Kanu revealed this via his Twitter handle, adding that Biafra Remembrance Day is a day set aside for all Biafrans to honor those that died in the struggle for Biafra actualization. The IPOB chief also urged members of the group and all Biafrans to sit at home on that day. Kanu wrote, I would join fellow Biafrans across USA and the rest of the world to mark this year's 30th of May Remembrance Day at the main event in Atlanta, Georgia. It's our duty to honor those who died, that we may live, sit at home across Biafra land. That was the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, confirming the IPOB sit at home, saying he will observe it in Atlanta, Georgia. IPOB tackles Umahi Nwodo for opposing sit at home order. The governor of Ebonyi State, David Umahi, and President General for Ohaneze Ndigbo, Dr. Nwodo, has been tackled by IPOB for opposing the sit at home order. After this, in a press release by Publicity Secretary of IPOB, Mapaf, and made available, the group said it has been brought to our attention that the usual suspects are in it once again in their bid to undermine the collective will of all patriotic and genuine children of Biafra, to honor those that died for us, and 3.5 million victims of second largest Holocaust in modern history. He said, while these two men who are of Igbo extraction opposes such order, they applauded when Osibanjo, the vice president of Nigeria, went to Rwanda to visit during the 150,000 remembrance of 150,000 victims of genocide. Why didn't Nwodo and David Umahi issue a statement condemning Yemi Osibanjo for attending the memorial in Rwanda? The group regretted that what the DOE meant by dissociating themselves from the exercise was that 150,000 Rwandan genocide victims is more important than 3.5 million of their own people, Biafrans, slaughtered in similar circumstances between 1967 and 1970. It further said, any leader worth salt would canvass for Nigeria to understand the need to declare May 30 a national public holiday. The IPOB is even asking that the federal government of Nigeria should recognize such a date. Not just within IPOB now, it should be a general holiday for Nigerians. It said Israel only a few days ago observed the annual Jewish Holocaust Memorial. This event has been running for over 70 years. It said last year, 2018, November, world leaders attended the Armistice Day commemoration in Paris to remember those that fell in the First World War. This remembrance has been running for over 100 years. Britain, that created Nigeria, observed the same annual 11th minute of 11th hour of the 11th month of the cenotaph in London every year without fail. The group, however, said it was optimistic that this year's event will be a success, but regretted that once the success was achieved, most people who knew nothing about it would claim and celebrate it. Every year they came up with their usual disagreement about the sit at home order, but at the end they would start making comments in the hope of sharing in the glory of 100% compliance. On Biafra, why Nnamdi Kanu Asari Dokubo should reconcile, Ohaneze said. The leadership of Ohaneze Ndigbo Youth Council worldwide has appealed to the leaders of indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, to reconcile with ex-Niger Delta militant Asari Dokubo. The group made a call in a statement by its President General, Mazi Nnamdi. The group urged both parties to reconcile, adding that the rift between Nnamdi Kanu and Dokubo was strengthening the bond between Southeast and South parts of Nigeria. The statement reads, IPOB should make peace with Asari Dokubo urgently as the rift is threatening the bond and partnership existing between the Southeast and South South. Since after the war, the two regions have been enjoying the harmonious relationship between them. So we advocate that IPOB should extend hands of friendship to Asari Dokubo, as we will not allow any misunderstanding between Nnamdi Kanu and Asari Dokubo escalate. And IPOB should use the May 30th to mend fence with the Niger Delta agitators rather than sit at home. Kanu and Dokubo have been at loggerheads over Biafran agitation days ago. Asari said the struggle for actualization of sovereign state of Biafra has been compromised by the IPOB leader. So the Ohaneze is meddling into the crisis between the leader of the indigenous people of IPOB, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and former Niger Delta militant Asari Dokubo. They want peace. They don't want something that will cause the two regions, South-South and South-East, which are together formerly Eastern region, to escalate. Ohaneze wants the peace we have enjoyed for some time to continue. Please, we at the Igbo Area TV also call for peace settlement. We don't want escalation. Thank you. Anambra community bans masquerades, gives reasons. Okija community in Ihiala, local government area of Anambra State, has banned activities of masqueraders in the area. The community alleged that masqueraders has turned into cults which attacked people with impunity. Addressing journalists at the palace, the traditional ruler of the community, Igwe Emeka Okezie, said the town would no longer tolerate the activities of masqueraders in the town. He said the Okija community holds masqueraders festivals in utmost reverence, but will not condone it in the present circumstances. Traditionally, masqueraders appears in the public at a specific period of the year and play prominent roles in the celebration of the cultural festival. But today, the fear of masqueraders has become a problem in Okija, as masqueraders have turned themselves to terror. The monarch said in the past the masqueraders were regarded as a means for maintaining peace and order and were used as law enforcement agents. He noted that the entire village would come out for the ceremony of the colorful masqueraders with entertainment through dance and exhibition of extra-human feats. He added that the masqueraders would walk up to certain individuals and loudly expose any bad habits, crime or misbehavior of that person, as people would always take corrections from the exposures. Okeze added that the masqueraders were effective in keeping up the traditional norms and values of the community. Today in Okija, masqueraders have turned themselves to terrors at marketplaces, roads, parks, and other public places in the town, he said. Okija stated that Okija had therefore banned masqueraders in the community till further notice. The monarch said a committee had been set up to handle the matter, adding that anyone who would come out with masqueraders would be treated accordingly. The chairman of the committee on masquerade affairs, Chief Sylvester Obiago, said people don't go to work any longer. The case was brought to the Igwe in council, and this set up a committee that will look into the case based on several reports to enable the practice to move simultaneously. Our masqueraders have turned to something else today. They collect tolls from motorists and damage their vehicles. Passengers also attack them. Women are beaten by masqueraders, and those involved are turning the masqueraders into cult members. Obiako stated. Wow. Mr. Ibu, how I died came back to life, the Nollywood actor said. A Nollywood comic actor, John Okafor, widely known as Mr. Ibu, has narrated how he was brought back to life by God after he was killed by unknown men. Mr. Ibu said he would not have been alive to tell his story if not for God, who gave him a second chance. Ibu was reported to be down with stroke recently, but the comic made a video to debunk the report. However, the story was not far from the truth. The 57-year-old said he was attacked and hypnotized while he was in Nnewi, Anambra State, to grace an occasion organized by one of the big shots in the town in December last year. The actor narrated the incident for the first time in an interview, and he is saying, all the stories flying around, the issue of stroke among others, are funny to me. This is because the original problem I had was on the 24th of December last year, that's 2018. An Nnewi-based business mogul, Ebube Chukwuzo, has invited me to come and perform at his party. I was in London when he contacted me on telephone. I promised him that I would be back soon, so I left London for Lagos on the 19th of December. I made a brief stopover in Ivory Coast, where I spent a few days before returning to the country on the 22nd December. On the morning of 24th December, I flew into Enugu to assemble my dancers and artists before heading to Nnewi by road. When we landed in Nnewi, I never knew that people who had been in touch with me all this while were the enemies of my host. They were busy diverting my movement out of the appropriate place. And before I knew that was happening, I found myself in a hotel they claimed to have been booked for me, While I was waiting for them, I went to a quiet place to avoid creating a scene. I kept communicating with them until they arrived at the hotel. My PA was the only person who was with me at that moment. A few minutes after, he went downstairs to buy soft drinks because he said he was thirsty. Two men dressed in white clothes walked up to me immediately. I suspected they were people I was waiting for. I stood up because I was lying down when they arrived. I looked at their faces and saw them smiling at me. I said to them, "Where are we heading to?" Nobody replied me. I said, "Okay, if you are my fans, there's no problem." Before I could finish speaking, a big blow landed on my nose and mouth. I passed out immediately, and later my lifeless body was lying on the floor while my spirit was hanging in the air. I wasn't standing on anything, neither was I holding anything. I was seeing what the two men were doing to my body, but they were not seeing me. I was surprised they were not seeing me where I was standing. My spirit was seeing them. Ibu meant that his physical body was lying lifeless on the ground, but his spirit was seeing them as he left his body. They succeeded in putting life out of the body before they left the place. Meanwhile, one of the cleaners in the hotel saw what happened to me and raised an alarm before my PA and other sympathizers rushed down to the place where my lifeless body was lying on the ground. They tried to revive me, but to no avail, and I was hearing what they were discussing, but they couldn't see me. At a point, the owner of the hotel suggested that they should take my corpse to the mortuary, but my boys refused. The following day, which was 25th December, they moved my body to a nearby hospital in Nnewi, where the doctor on duty confirmed me dead and advised my boys to deposit my corpse in the mortuary. My boys refused to adhere to the doctor's advice. They moved my lifeless body to Enugu on the 26th of December. When we reached Enugu, they took me to a herbal hospital, and the first doctor that examined my body confirmed that there was no life in me any longer. My boys did not give up. On 28th December, after the doctors couldn't revive me, while in the spiritual realm, a face like a masquerade was revealed and was smiling at me. It later disappeared before two hands appeared from the blue and commanded me to go back. Immediately I woke up and everybody took to their heels. When I woke up, I could neither walk nor talk again. It was obvious that something happened to me. On the 30th of December, my wife arrived in Enugu, and when she saw me, she started crying while I was laughing. At a point, she started playing with me. She held my hand and was teaching me how to walk again. Soon, I started regaining my senses. On the 30th of December, I finally regained full consciousness. I asked my wife what we were doing in Enugu. I said to her, "I told you I was going to Nnewi. How come we ended up in Enugu?" My wife told me to calm down, that she was going to tell me everything that happened along the line. And when I regained full consciousness, she narrated everything that happened to me. I was dumbfounded. That's how I came back to my senses. After I was discharged from the hospital, the man that invited me to Nnewi managed to send my flight ticket back to Lagos with that of my wife. That's how I returned to Lagos alive, and since then, nobody has called me to inquire about my condition of health. But I thank God that the will of my enemies did not prevail against me, against my life. They couldn't kill me because God knows I didn't offend anybody, he added. Well, we at Iboria TV thank God for the life of our brother. Thank God he didn't die. It's a great news that at the end of the day, it was joy and not sorrow. We thank God for your life, Mr. Ibu. Igbo Area TV is thanking God specially for your life. This one is a sad one. Have you heard? Nollywood actor Dandy Eke dies after slumping at a bar in Rivers State. The actor reportedly slumped on Sunday and was rushed to a hospital where he was confirmed dead. Eke was remembered for playing prominent roles in movies that promoted cultural values from the eastern part of the country. Eke was reportedly sharing drinks with friends at a bar in Port Harcourt when the sad event happened. The cause of his death was yet to be confirmed as at press time. The last post on his Instagram was at 11 p.m. and when he wished his daughter a happy birthday. In that post, Eke said, "Happy cake day, why daughter? May God's continuance continue to abide with thee. Greatness is all I see." On his Instagram page, fans have mourned his demise. According to Benson Okonkwo, R.I.P. Dandy Eke, several others Eke was a Nigerian actor, film director, writer, television personality, and model. The actor was married to Moma G, a businesswoman with whom he had 3 children. Thanks for listening to Igbo Area TV. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more updates. You can also visit our Facebook page and like the page. You can join our Facebook group, Igbo Area TV. God bless you and bye for now.